After facing the loneliness and trials of the wilderness, Jesus emerged strengthened and ready. He stood at the threshold of his remarkable purpose, but not alone. He sought out ordinary people whose hearts were open, individuals willing to leave behind their familiar lives for something far greater. Little did they know, their humble beginnings would soon become part of history's greatest story. Walking by the Sea of Galilee, Jesus saw ordinary fishermen busy with their nets, completely unaware their lives were about to change forever. Simon, also known as Peter, bold and outspoken, and his brother Andrew, humble and sincere, were diligently casting their nets. Their lives were simple, yet demanding. But Jesus saw beyond their nets, into their hearts. Jesus says to them, "Come, follow me, and I will make you fishers of men." Without hesitation, Simon and Andrew dropped everything, nets, boats, their familiar lives, and followed him. As Jesus continued down the shore, he saw others whose passion and strength would soon serve a greater purpose. James and John, the sons of Zebedee, known as the sons of thunder for their fiery spirits, worked closely with their father. Yet, when Jesus said, "James, John, come, follow me," they immediately left their father amazed, stepping boldly into the unknown. The number of followers began to grow, each disciple joining with their own story of hope and faith. Philip, earnest in his search for truth, quickly recognized Jesus as the Messiah. Enthusiastically, he approached Nathanael, who initially questioned, "Can anything good come out of Nazareth?" Jesus warmly, "Here truly is an Israelite in whom there is no deceit." Nathanael says to Jesus, "How do you know me?" Jesus replied, "I saw you while you were still under the fig tree before Philip called you." Nathanael, in awe, "Rabbi, you are the Son of God." Jesus continued his journey, reaching out beyond fishermen to those society had rejected. Then there was Levi, known as Matthew, a tax collector, considered a traitor by his own people. Wealthy yet despised, Matthew's isolation shattered as Jesus personally invited him to follow. Jesus says to Matthew, "Follow me." Matthew joyfully accepted, hosting a great feast to celebrate, gathering friends, tax collectors, and sinners to meet Jesus. But this celebration drew criticism. A member from a Jewish group says, "Why does this man eat with tax collectors and sinners?" Jesus replies firmly, "It is not the healthy who need a doctor, but the sick. I haven't come to call the righteous, but sinners to repentance." Not everyone came easily. Some disciples were thoughtful, cautious, carefully weighing the call placed before them. Thomas, cautious and careful by nature, was known for his thoughtful questions and deep desire for understanding. Jesus personally invited Thomas, recognizing his sincere questioning would lead to profound faith and unwavering loyalty. Quietly but deliberately, Jesus chose followers whose strength lay in their humility and dedication. James, son of Alphaeus, was steadfast, humble, and diligent, a man who quietly lived a life of integrity. Jesus saw this faithful perseverance and invited James into something extraordinary. Jesus' call extended even to those filled with fiery passion, seeking hearts ready for true transformation. Simon the Zealot, known for his passionate activism and desire for change, found in Jesus a greater revolution, one rooted in love and peace. Others were drawn by the gentle yet powerful presence of Jesus, feeling welcomed by his kindness and sincerity. Thaddeus was sincere, gentle-hearted, and quietly faithful. Drawn by Jesus' kindness, he eagerly embraced the call. Finally, Judas Iscariot joined, a man whose heart was difficult to read. Yet Jesus chose him purposefully, fully aware of the complexities ahead. Jesus spent an entire night in prayer, talking deeply with his Father, preparing for the journey ahead. At sunrise, he gathered the group together and officially appointed them as his 12 disciples, those who would walk closely beside him, sharing in his teachings and purpose. These 12 were not chosen for perfection, but for their willingness to follow. Each had unique struggles, but Jesus chose them anyway. Yet little did they know. Their first steps would soon lead to something miraculous, a celebration, an urgent need, and a moment when Jesus would reveal his glory for the very first time.